Hey everyone, Raptor Spank here, and today we have Metacheck November 10th. This is the show where I look at the meta and talk about a couple of decks I find interesting that are trending. First though, we're going to look at the patch notes for patch 1.14. So right off the bat, I see this debut of Friends Spectate, and I am very excited for that. That's been something we've needed for quite a while, so happy to see that that's coming finally. And sounds like some hefty changes, but they mentioned that they were going to be doing a metagame snapshot. I'm not sure exactly what that's going to entail, but I guess we'll find out here. Basically, it was meant to be, from what I understand, an idea of what actual win rates are and all that, because they were saying that there was kind of a poor perception from the fans' perspective about what is and what isn't good. Okay, so they're only looking at Platinum, Diamond, and Masters. Well, nowhere near where I want to be, but I'm still in that number. So I guess that's not too bad. But most played meta decks. Okay, smaller populations don't go in. That's fine. Because the deck that's been played 3 times and has 100% win rate isn't really worth talking about. So that seems reasonable. 3% play rate or 50% plus win rate. Okay, so if it's a three games but 100% win rate, it will be in there. Weird. Okay, regions, champions, most distinct unifying card on average. That seems fine. Deck codes even. Oh, that's neat. Oh, they're not actually going to show us the deck codes, but okay. Lee Sin, still incredibly high win rate, I think, for what we'll see across this many things. War Mother's Call, wow, actual War Mother's Call. Is that accurate? More than Fielder Rush? Seems a little weird. Bilgewater Burn's still pulling that kind of win rate, so that's pretty good. And, yep, this is exactly what I was talking about. Bilgewater Burn still outperforming Discard Aggro. I actually think Discard Aggro is the worst of the aggro decks that you can play. Or has been, and seems to suggest that. I'm kind of surprised that Soraka Tahm Kench Starspring is so low. The deck has been performing incredibly well for me. In fact, I have a positive win rate in it, despite all the early losses with the deck. I went 6-3 in my last 9 matches with it, so a little surprised the win rate's that low, but honestly, it's one of the more difficult decks I've played, so I think that probably has a part in it. Nautilus Maokai, deep. Yep, pretty close to 50-50. Not really where you want to be, and I think that one's not so much learn to play as just it's in an unfortunate spot. TF Swain was pretty high. Wow, Banner Scout still pulling that kind of win rate, huh? That's impressive. I actually don't think it's that good. And then, yeah, Nightfall Aggro. I stand by the statement. Someone asked me if I thought Discard Aggro is better than Nightfall Aggro. No, I do not think so, and I stand by that statement. And it seems like the win rates are painting the same picture. That's impressive, though, that Banner Scouts is the second highest we've seen. I'm kind of surprised by that. It is kind of spiking again, though, so that's good for it. Another TF Swain? This was TF Swain, right? Petty Officer versus Blade's Edge? What? Is this the NAB variant, then? Is that what this is? Is this meant to be the NAB variant? They Who Endure still doing fairly well, comparatively. Spider Aggro, still pretty solid. Outperforming Bilgewater Burn, I think. But still losing to Nightfall, so not too surprising. Diana Lee Sin, way down from where it was. That does not surprise me. The Zed plan is much better. I think I mentioned this in probably the previous Metacheck, but Zed is a legitimate win condition on his own, so I don't think the Diana buying time for Lee Sin really works anymore now that he's a lot higher in cost. And, yep, Fiora Shen, win rate very high. Actually, that's probably the 4th highest, I think, without actually writing them down and comparing them. Yeah, I hate this deck. I really do. Vi Heimerdinger, interesting. That's pretty high win rate. Very low play rate, though. Targon Noxus was that low of a play rate? I saw it a handful of times. Win rate's very solid. Impressive. Maybe I should have tried it out. I mean, it's not too late to. Maybe I still will, but Demacia, Ionia, Zed, Lucian. Interesting. That's a very high win rate. Huh. Maybe that would have been worth checking out. I suppose the Deny makes it pretty strong for the control matchups. So it's just whether it can compete with the aggro ones. Alright. Oh, wait. Okay, so was this a certain time period? Was this before? Oh, that was before the nerfs. Oh, that's surprising. So after the nerfs, yep, discard aggro about where it was. War Mother's Call. Yep, Zedly Sin still about where it was. Okay, Field of Rush better than War Mother's Call. Yes, I believe that easily. And Bilgewater Burn is a little outperformed by discard aggro. Okay, interesting, interesting. Yeah, and deeps below the win rate. But yeah, that's still a high win rate for Banner Scouts. And Star Spring went a little bit higher up, so that's cool. Yep, I would expect TF Swain to be down here now. Fiora Shen, yep, even better, even worse. Even better, quote unquote, even worse for the game, yeah. And yep, Targon, Nightfall aggro still outperforming the other aggro decks, but not quite as much as it was. But it is still the better performing one. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure that deck's good, but well, I thought about playing Teemo Lock, but I guess I'm glad I did not. Endure kind of spiking a little bit, and same with the Freljord Noxus mid-range. Okay, Targon Noxus, a little more presence, and still a high win rate, so that's pretty impressive. Same for the Spider Aggro to be up there. Alright, card updates. Here's the money. Lucian, level 2, can now trigger the same round as leveling. Oh lord. Okay, well that's going to be good for Banner Scouts, for the Lucian variant. Or for that Ionian Lucian deck. Was that on this patch? Did they mention on this patch or just the previous one? Demacia, Ionia, nope. That is just the... Yeah, so they didn't even have it on this patch. But, yeah, that will make Banner Scouts better. The Senna variant. Although, that said, it still doesn't necessarily do all that much. It's not the most incredible thing. Shyvana buff, okay. They just increased her power on both forms. That seems reasonable. 4/4 for 4 that gets the +1/+1 when it attacks seems like a good buff for where Dragons is. I could see her becoming problematic, but I think Dragons needed something like that, so that seems reasonable. Vladimir, okay, this seems kind of old text. Attack for the deals 1. New text, attack. For each attacking ally on my right, deal 1 to it and deal 1 to the enemy nexus. Weird. Oh, I get... Okay, I see what they're going for here. Okay. The idea is to make it so you can keep certain creatures alive and not necessarily lose everything that attacks. Okay. That's a neat change then. I like that. That's kind of cool. And it adds more skill because now there's a little more choice in how the mechanic happens and executes, and just in general, when you can add more skill to a card, I think that's a good thing. So that's a pretty cool change. And yeah, just change that. Okay, I don't think this will make Vladimir suddenly competitive, but that is a positive change for Vladimir that lets you play better around him. But I don't expect to see him at the top of the meta now. Trundle, health was nerfed. Is that it? Is that all that's been changed? Okay, well they did say they were still planning to have Trundle be competitive, but that is a little bit less than I was expecting. The change to Ice Pillar is definitely the biggest change here, and really, really good. Ice Pillar is way too good. Honestly, even at 6 health, it might still be too good. But making Trundle slightly easier to kill, that's pretty good. And at this point, I actually don't necessarily think that Trundle's that problematic, but definitely, it's good that he's getting nerfed. I would have probably like to see a little bit more, but that seems reasonable. It's not that big a deal. And the ice pillar change is huge. That's really good. We needed that. Okay, they're changing this. All right, Nexus Strike. Create a fleeting Mystic Shanhan. When you cast spell, deal 1 to the enemy Nexus. If it targeted an enemy, deal 2 to the enemy Nexus instead. Interesting. Okay, so they're making Ezreal way easier to level up. Easier than he's ever been, I think. I don't believe he was that low in beta. So 6+, that's very easy to do. And now they're making it so he deals more damage if you target things. Otherwise, he doesn't deal quite as much damage. So they're kind of nerfing the more miserable aspects when you do things like Mushroom Cloud and all that. The problem is that abilities that target won't trigger it. They never did, but by making this change, you're kind of pushing more towards that. But I like this. Ezreal might actually be playable now. And For those who aren't aware, Ezreal is one of my favorite champions in the game. I really, really love playing the Ezreal decks, the old ones, and I don't think this hurts him too much. And the fact that he's going to be so much easier to level up is such a big, big change. I mean, 6, that's so easy. Used to the Ezreal where it's hard to get him to 8, or where you had to really try to get him to 8. So only 6. That's incredibly easy. I may have to play Ezreal. That might be this week's On the Grind. I would love to be back on Ezreal again. The big problem is the flip side, dealing only 1 damage with the other spells. That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad for the deck. The bright side being things that target, like Mystic Shot. Well, I guess Mystic Shot's still better pointing to the Nexus, but something like, say, Static Shock is better to target an enemy. Though again, you can do both of that, but yeah, there's some real benefits to that. It's not terrible. I like it. I like the changes. I think we could see some actual Ezreal decks, so that'll be fun. All right, Jinx. Oh lord, she can trigger the turn she flips too. Why are they buffing discard aggro? They even had the numbers telling them that that was a mistake. Very weird choice. This is discard aggro is going to be a lot better. This is terrible for the game. Don't know why they did it. Already a high-performing deck, and they just made it way, way better. It's so easy for you to empty your hand with Rummage, leveling her up, and then you have a bunch of stuff in your hand. You can also pitch very easily through the deck. So that's a bad change. Shouldn't have been made, but oh well. Discard aggro is definitely going to be good. That might be enough to push it to the top. We'll see. But that is a huge buff for the deck. Don't underrate this. There's so many times that I've been like, man, if only I could get the blast, the rocket, off of the turn she levels, because I've had many, many ways to do it. So that's a huge buff. Taric buff. Don't think that that's going to be that much better, but definitely a buff to Taric. I'm sure anyone who's playing Taric will be happy to see that, because Taric's damage output was actually embarrassingly low, to be honest. So increasing it, it's not too bad. Oh, why are you buffing Tiana? I mean, I guess she's kind of fallen out of favor a bit lately, but like she's always been good. She's still good. This plus the Lucian changes can make a pretty mean Lucian rally deck. So I can see that being good. Oh, I love this. I love this already. I already love this. The change to Weirding Stones is fantastic. Weirding Stones was too hard to kill for what it did. That's okay. This makes me feel better about them not nerfing Trundle that much, because the nerf to Weirding Stones is pretty huge. Now it's very, very killable. It was the same problem they had with Boom Crew Rookie, where they gave him way, way too much health, so it was too hard to kill him. Now Weirding Stones has had the same problem fixed. And I think this is very fair. We finally found a deck where Weirding Stones is good enough. I mean, War Mother always kind of bounced with a Spotlight, but Field of Rush and the addition of Trundle has made the deck so much better. There really needs this nerf where you can actually kill the Weirding Stones the turn it comes down through a number of different ways. This will be great for Bannerman because the Misfortune plus Fleet Feather kills this. Get Excited kills this. Gotcha kills this. There's a lot of great ways to deal with it now, so that's good. That's good. Fuzzy Caretaker. Yeah, that seems fine. Nerf the health so it's easier to kill, but bring it down further on the curve. Yeah, this seems fine. This card saw almost no play even in support decks, so yeah, it's a good change, I think. I don't necessarily think we'll see it a lot, but it could definitely find a home in Lulu Shen if that comes back. Mina Swiftfoot. So they just buffed her stats and gave her quick attack? Okay. I think she's still not playable, but yeah, not awful. Quick attack's pretty big because she was pretty easy to kill, but the fact is a 9 cost unit like this, maybe Yasuo Tempo does a lot better now, but it's so expensive. It's not a card you really, really want in your hand, but way better now. Maybe she'll find a home in Yasuo Tempo. Funsmith is cheaper, but deals less damage. I'm scared of this card. I don't think this card will ever be in a place where it's really feeling fair, but it's kind of like a better keg. But that said, rarely saw Funsmith, and the few times I did, beat it very easily, so buffing it seems fair. So we'll see how that goes. Oh, Callista's Blackspear does 4 now. Interesting, interesting. Honestly, I would have rather they dropped the cost to 2 and made it still do 3 than to do 3 cost and deal 4, but obviously this is a buff, not that bad. It's just, it's hard to make Black Spear work since you have to kill something to do this, so, or have one of your own units die to do this, so I think it would have been better just to lower the cost so you had more mana to use on killing your own things to make this work, but obviously it's not a bad thing. But it still feels weird to compare this card side by side with something like Ravenous Flock, which also requires some work to make it work, but it's only 1 mana for 4 damage, so weird. Nerfs to Riptide Rex. Okay, 1 less Cannon Barrage, and his power went down. Yeah, that seems fine. His Cannon Barrage was probably a little bit over the top. I love Riptide Rex. I love this card. I love what it does and all that. But yeah, he was probably a little overtuned. So bringing him down a little bit is fine. I don't think the power will actually be that relevant, but the 1 less Cannon Barrage definitely could be. Eclipse Dragon. Okay, I've seen this a bit more with a Aurelion Soul Trundle ramp. So I'm a little sketched out about this because it can be problematic, but obviously it wasn't getting played a ton, so I mean, kind of reasonable. But we might, I could see us regretting this change, but I don't hate this as much as I hate the Jinx change. New lab, 4 experiments. Oh, this is where you can craft your own deck. Oh, so you get different buffs, depending on how you build your deck. Okay, that's cool. I like that. This is a cool lab. This is a lab that lets you really experiment, so that's sweet. Oh, it's standard best of 3 only in Gauntlet now? That's a little disappointing. Singleton was at least neat, but yeah, that's fine. Alright, so you can watch your friends' games with all the usual in-game functionalities, like Oracle size, card deals, details, and most importantly of all, petting their... Oh, you can pet their Guardian? That's cool. Next patch, we intend to add a disable spectate option. Okay. Yeah, that seems fine. If you're going to be doing tournaments and stuff like that, and you want to make it so people can't spectate you, that seems like a very good thing for competitive integrity. So, yeah. I like this. This is great. This is great. I've been wanting this for quite a while, so love it. Some changes to expeditions. I don't really play them enough to honestly give too much of a thing here, but most used deck code, player icons, and visual polish to leaderboards. Interested. Huh. Interesting. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I guess that's fair to use the most used deck code, but there is a certain amount of niceness to be able to hide your decks, you know what I mean? And be rewarded more for experimentation, but at the same time, I'll love looking at what people are playing. And player icons is dope. Show off my Dragonling. I love it. Alright, well, let's talk about some decks then. First off, I want to talk about Spooky Karma. There's no nerfs to the deck, so it will still be a strong deck, and it's kind of been a late hitter over the past week or so. So this is a sort of new all-star. It's a hard control list that looks to win with Pack Your Bags in the late game. The addition of Go Hard to this pretty perennial strategy has really boosted the deck by giving you a great turn 1 play that also is a win condition in and of itself, because it turns into a real late game bomb with late game Karma when she's leveled up, because she can copy Go Hard, which can either get you to pack your bags very fast, or if you have 2 Karmas out, it can in many ways just level up and pack your bags and all in one turn fairly easily. It uses tons of Shadow Isles removal with flexible Ionia catch-alls to ensure our opponents can't put together the win themselves. Lots of life gain that can get really insane with leveled up Karma, because once you start duplicating things like Withering Wail, you're going to gain a bunch of life, and that'll really help to keep you ahead of your opponent. You will basically want to use Thresh to level up and find your Karma to make sure that you can get it, because this is a very Karma-dependent deck. And Rekindlers can bring back or increase the number of Karmas you have out by bringing back a one that died previously while you already have one on the board. So this is just our way of making sure we can copy a bunch of spells and build a pretty strong board state in and of itself. You want to look for board wipes, life gain, and early game cards for aggro. And then Ruination is very good for mid-range, and then things like Vengeance, Deny, and Rekindler are great for the control matchups. The next deck is Noxus Piltover Ezreal Combo. I could definitely see a Shadow Isles Go Hard variant or an Ionia Karma variant perform very well, but I wanted to return to a favorite of mine, which is the Noxus version, which combos very, very quickly and can pressure your opponent's Nexus even without the Ezreal. This is an aggressive Ezreal shell, since it has all of these powerful units in addition to him. So it makes up for the weaker Ezreal flip or level up by having low curve aggression to lower the Nexus ahead of your Ezreal level up. Lots of units and spells target units to level up Ezreal, and you want to look for things like low drops like House Spider especially, and wide removal like Shock for aggro matchups. You want to look for aggressive units against control to pressure their health early. Scorched Earth lets us fight off Bilgewater Spring, which is really, really good. And we can combo it with things like Static Shock, Mystic Shot, etc. just to deal damage to something and then use Scorched Earth to finish it off, even if it's too big for any of our removal to typically hit it. And the important here is we have a lot of burn spells with Mystic Shots and Get Exciteds to basically get even more damage off once Ezreal flips. So even if we are pointing at the Nexus, it's still going to get 1 extra damage off Ezreal and do a ton of damage on its own. So the idea here is to be able to pressure their health total with or without the leveled up Nexus or leveled up Ezreal as much, since he will be doing less damage than typical Ezreal decks did. Finally, we have DI Rally Aggro. This is a powerful mid-range-esque aggro deck. It uses efficient, powerful units with a ton of ways to attack multiple times a turn, / protect your units, to basically run our opponent down fairly quickly, while also being able to go over a lot of removal. It uses Lucian and Zed, who are some of the most aggressive champions in the game. And Screeching Dragon, Radiant Champion, or Radiant Guardian, and Cytherea the Bold make for a very potent late game. So it's not even an aggro deck that fizzles very quick. We don't have direct Nexus burn, per se, but we do have extra attacks, and we have this crazy late game that boosts our already huge units to just make sure that we can keep running down our opponent even into that mid to late game. Look for low-cost challengers and pump spells / barrier to protect them, and Radiant Guardian against aggro to basically stabilize the late game against them. Ranger's Resolve, Deny, and Senna plus Lucian are great for control, because with Senna plus Lucian, single target removal is not good anymore, because killing one just makes the other one crazy powerful. So it sets up really bad plays for your opponent. Usually we want to attack with Lucian and then Senna, because Lucian's going to be the higher target for them to kill. So then if they kill Lucian, they take a bunch of damage from Senna, and if they kill Senna, we'll still level up Lucian, we'll still have Lucian, he'll still get his damage in, and that's pretty strong in and of itself, because keep in mind they'll probably kill whatever potential double attacker attacks second, so just play around that well if you can. And Lucian plus Senna, as well as extra attacks, are very effective for mid-range. Because they have high power and quick attack, it's very hard for mid-range decks to block them, so they should be able to force a fair amount of damage through. And then extra attacks lets you really speed up the clock and get under their board control, essentially. So that's what you want to look up for those matches. So, thanks for watching the video. The deck codes for all 3 of these decks are available in the description below if you want to try them out. If you liked the video, leave a like, comment below, and subscribe for more videos just like it.